The world of search has been evolving faster than ever, and the impact is beyond just where we compete in the SERPs, but also how we do work and our individual career paths. So the question is, how do you rebuild a career when the entire search industry is evolving underneath you? I'm Tyson Stockton, and joining me today is Paul Andre de Vera, founder at Answer Engine Optimization. Dre's been a long-time enterprise SEO leader who's driven growth at companies like Workday, Stripe, Anaplan, and now helps brands adapt to AI-driven search through AEO. Welcome to the podcast, Dre.
Hey, Tyson, what's up, my man? How you doing, brother?
Oh, it's good to have you on. I mean, we've been doing like a podcast exchange here where I was on your show and now I have you on the Voice of Search. But first of all, I got to give you props on the show, like the production, how you do it from a live setting. Super fun. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, at first, it was something I'd never done before, right? Live streaming was very, very new to me, but this was about 6 years ago. And so I bought a course online on how to live stream. And within about a month, I was able to kind of like buy all the lighting, well, not necessarily the lighting because I was a photographer already, so I had the lighting, but the video, the software, the teleprompting software and stuff like that, and how to learn how to edit a little bit, and just grew from 6 years ago. Now it's just like clockwork, and I told you, like, I'm actually using like over 100 keys to run that show.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I feel like style-wise, it was completely different. Where everything was live, you had a lot of dynamic elements. Our show, I mean, it feels a little more like peek behind the curtains to the audience. Like, we do edits, we're not running it live, so you have that kind of like large shoulder, if you will, on the tracks. But it was super fun to be on it.
Oh, no, thank you. Glad to be on. You dropped so many knowledge bombs, and if you guys haven't seen it yet, check it out. It was just released, so check it out on Tyson Stockton. Just search it on YouTube.
Dre, I wanted to ask and kind of talk about a little bit like your career progression and transitions. And I know like the last few years was like a pretty pivotal moment in your own career trajectory. Mm-hmm. So like maybe like let's start with, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was kind of the layoff that happened during or early pandemic.
Yeah.
What, like, tell us about the experience. Like, we've gone through several waves of like massive layoffs from like the large enterprise companies. So it's like, I know a lot of other SEOs and listeners have probably been in the same position. Super tough to go through that experience. Mm-hmm. But maybe if you could tell us a little bit of what that was like and kind of like what crossroads did you find yourself in?
Yeah, so I've been doing enterprise SEO for the past 15 years, and I've been working with a ton of like enterprise companies like SAP, Workday, Anaplan, and these were companies that were also laying off during these times, like even years ago, right? And I was one of the positions that would survive those positions, so I never actually experienced a layoff until about the pandemic era. And it was the time I usually was able to leave on my own time. And so, and obviously I had my backup plan, or I actually had a plan when I left the company. At the time I was actually at Workday. I didn't get laid off at Workday. However, it was a company that was at the most for like over 5 years, and I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. So I decided to kind of get a higher position at a startup company. And so this was during around the pandemic. And so I left a company that, I was there for such a long time. I survived a few layoffs, and I went to the startup company, and within about, I guess like maybe 8 months, I was let go. They had to cut everything off, and their funding was kind of like lower, so they had to kind of like let people go. And I was one of the first to go. Marketing was usually one of the first people that they usually cut, and I was one of the head of marketing at that time. And then that experience was heartbreaking. I actually just bought a house because I thought, I just got this new job, and I got a new house. I was in the middle of a remodel. I literally gutted my whole house out. Like, I was literally living in between plastic curtains just because, the contractors were moving stuff. And so doing this, I had a new house, remodel, and then I get hit with a layoff. So I was depressed. And it was one of those things where, running my credit, I ended up getting into about $100,000 in debt because I couldn't find a job for like maybe a couple of years. I was trying to improve myself. And either whether it's like learning new things. I actually became a real estate agent. I got a real estate license, became a realtor, just so I have a backup plan, right? What if I can never get a job again in SEO? And so that was one of the things. And then one of the things I also do was to, while I was trying to get interviewed, I was able to find a coach, a career coach. And in this case, it was Jordan Cooney of Previsible. And he would have me kind of like pitch my career story to him and like kind of give me some tweaks and stuff like that next time I go through interviews. And then that's when, I was able to actually get out of that and find a, contract job. But basically it was a long-term contract job, which, was over at Stripe. And again, it was something that you have to really, really, it's not easy. And during the pandemic, which lucky enough was that I started the SEO video show podcast, which was something that kind of kept my name relevant within the SEO industry and within companies. I'm always active on LinkedIn, so the companies saw that I was posting. And then when I would say something where I would maybe get a few jobs here and there, a few contracts just for people that would need help, just by producing content, by producing the SEO video show, just putting stuff out there was something that kept me going. And then until I finally actually found another gig from all that learning.
Well, I want to go back just a little bit in that, because I feel like there's a lot just in that kind of moment or area when you were searching, looking to improve yourself. Like real estate's like, another, like, that's, I feel like, a sign too of just how, I guess, significant of a time it was, where, I mean, like you said, you didn't know if you were going to find a job in SEO, which, like, I mean, to a lot probably sounds like an extreme. Like, maybe take us through a little bit, like how did you pull yourself out of that? Like that seems like a very significant challenge to be kind of like at that point. Like, how did you get connected with Jordan? Like, tell us a little bit about kind of like your mindset in the like coming out of that hard place.
Yeah. Fortunate enough, I mean, I'll tell you this, like if this happened to me maybe 15 years ago, it would probably have been much worse. I'd say back in maybe 2017, 2016, I got into reading. I read like maybe over 250 books in a year about, whether it was self-help or I was constantly reading. I had no subscription to any kind of TV or any cable or anything like that. All I did was just read. And it enlightened me. Like I learning a lot of things, especially, how to win friends and influence people, like Think and Grow Rich. These type of books, these old school books written in the early 1900s were something that actually kind of picked me up and kind of like reset my mind on my outlook of life. Having a podcast and being active on LinkedIn helped me build my network. Right. So this network is like, Jordan was actually a guest on my podcast, and that's how I met him. I mean, well, I knew of him, and then I kind of like brought him on, and then since then we kept connected. And then, he told me about Previsible and what you guys are doing. You're actually helping other SEOs find jobs, and, even beyond that, which, in the early parts of Previsible, I was one of those guys that, would seek advice from the team. Even like the pandemic, you're all by yourself, right? So again, it's like, this is something where like, having a podcast and being able to talk to people. I mean, think about this: laid off, living at home alone, can't really see anyone, right? And my only connection with the world was through this podcast. So, and the podcast was something that really, I would say, like really helped me, kind of like just keep myself sane. Because I was it's being able to talk to people. And now with the podcast and now with everyone going back, I'd say conferences are even just as good now. I mean, conferences were just as great before, but going to conferences now and just networking, especially an SEO conference, I feel like the SEO community is so close. Everyone's so willing to help out each other since we're all SEOs. We're all here, there's a lot of, I may not have, I was scared of maybe losing it and like not being able to find a job again, but every business will need an SEO. Everyone will need a search marketer or some type of digital marketer where search plays, right? We were saying that search is everywhere now. Search everywhere optimization.
Yeah. Well, it's like you hit on so many great pieces there where it's like, one, just the ability to take a hard situation or a challenge and turn that into a strength, I think is super encouraging, where it's like, that mindset of like, great, I'm going through this hard thing, that's going to allow me to get stronger, is like that's a very difficult mindset to keep yourself in, because obviously it's not easy. And yeah, so it's like, that's super interesting, but also the SEO community aspect, I think, is really cool in the sense that a lot of us in SEO are introverts, but yet there is this pretty close community and this willingness to help each other out. And like, it's certainly been a piece in starting Pretty Visible and like kind of what we were hoping or wanting to do. But like, I think the willingness to help is something that I found is a bit unique in SEO. And most of the time, not most of the time, all the time, we fell into this industry and this practice. So it almost feels like, yeah, it's a survivalist industry. It's like everyone just kind of finds a way and figures it out. And no one gave us a roadmap or a guide to it. You just kind of figure out. And to me, that like, it's a challenge, but part of like what makes it cool and fun and interesting. And like, you get people from different walks of life because no one planned to be here.
Yep. No, that's totally like on point right there. Because I mean, especially like when you're having a podcast, I'm meeting SEOs from all over the world. Like, this is something that's never happened before, right? And coming from that, like being able to network and then build things. Building things is something that I feel like we should all be doing, right? Especially with like the technology now, with AI. Out of like the whole SEO video show, I was able to build certain things like the whole AEO.so, which is answer engine optimization, which is another thing. It's a knowledge base. Like the whole SEO video show is helping others. I'm not selling a course. I'm not selling any memberships. It's all a helping platform to help others, and everything I'm building is all free, right? Like it's something like to help people learn things. Just me giving back to the community. I mean, I feel like SEO has even though being laid off and stuff like that, it's put me in a great spot to at least pick up, where I left off.
Well, take us back to getting that first contract gig after having that like hardship. Like, what was there anything in particular? Was it like just the stars aligned and it was, who we were interviewing with, whatever, like, but like, okay. Tell us about like what gave you the edge to land that?
I'll tell you this. Okay. So, believe it or not, so I actually interviewed with the company a year. Remember, I mentioned I was unemployed for about 2 years. So I actually, during the time I talked to Jordan and was coaching, was about a year in, and I actually interviewed with the company a year after I was laid off. I didn't get hired until a year after, but the thing is, they remembered my whole presentation and what I do. Like I over delivered on my interview. That I was memorable, and they called me back a year after, and then I was hired just by a simple call, like, "Hey, are you still interested?" I'm like, "Yeah," like I'm still unemployed. But yeah, so it's a pretty crazy story too, and it's one of those things where it's like if you do something memorable, you will be remembered. Like if you have to go over deliver, like remember I was kind of also talking to you, like there's times where I would always look at a company that I'm talking to and try and see if I can deliver. Provide something, you know when you ask someone for like advice, you like try to like offer something first, just so you're not like just taking. So I want to show what I can at least do with my skill sets with the company, and then I would do this with every single company. I did it with the company that hired me, and I actually did it recently for another company that was actually trying to reach out to me, but I didn't apply for the job. They reached out to me, and I was like, before I actually replied to the CEO, I looked at analyze their site and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, it looks like they're targeting this keyword, AI support platform. And I was like, they're not even ranking number 1 for it. And so I took that, I've been doing 15, I know what leverage to tweak. So I've been doing this for 15 years. I was able to get them ranking number 1 within 24 hours for AI support stack. I mean, obviously it was I guess it's a term they were trying to coin, but they weren't even ranking 1 for it. But within 24 hours, I replied back to the CEO, hey, if you hire me, check this out, what I can do in 24 hours if you have me on full time. So, I mean, I didn't hear back, but I mean, they said, thank you. Actually, I would say like that would probably be like at least $5,000 worth of work I provide for them just within pulling all my levers and getting them number 1 for a term that they didn't even rank for, but in AI and all the LLMs and on Google.
Well, it's such a good lesson too. I mean, you dropped a few in there. It's like one from the like giving something before taking. It's like, I feel like that's such a good fundamental lesson, but also approaching these interviews of like, how do I stand out? How do I deliver something? How do I become memorable? Because even as someone like that does recruiting and does a lot of interviews, you talk to so many people, and it's like a lot of times there are a lot of different people that are really good and may not be just perfect for the right role, but it's like you do kind of latch on and you remember certain people that it's like, oh yeah, like this might be good for them. And I mean, similarly, actually, we just hired someone that I met a year and a half, little over a year ago in Brighton, UK. I went over at the event, met him. He had just stepped down from his role, wasn't sure what he was going to do. We didn't have something that was exactly like aligned at the time. And, you know, he started doing his own thing. A year or so later, something opens up. Hey, I know a guy, he's going to be a perfect fit.
Yep.
And so it's like that, just, I don't know, getting out of the comfort zone, pushing the limit a little bit to be memorable can go so far in that like small industry that we work in.
Exactly. So like, even like when you say building like a personal brand, right? Building a personal brand doesn't mean you don't have to be known by the entire world or anything like that, right? I mean, if you build a personal brand, if you just at least stand out somewhat in the SEO space within like the tech space and stuff like that, then you're doing a job. I mean, when you do personal brand, it's like, again, it's just apply your own skill set. Like me as an SEO, as a marketer, I was applying the exact same skill to my own name, right? So I have like, you know, I've been on keywords. Like actually, that's another story. Like there's another way I got a job at Anaplan was it was a global web marketing role. And the way I stood out there was that I actually created some ads. Like I heard you guys are looking for a global web marketer, right? So if you search global web marketing in Google, I targeted San Francisco. So the person that was searching it, and they would see the live ad that I produced as "Hire me, Paul Andre de Vera, as your next digital marketer." And so one of the things, like, you know, just display your skill set. Again, that's a good way to be memorable. And at the same time, you can apply this to your own personal brand. Just build content, apply your own skills to yourself, your own name. You know, have a website. You know, be active on like the networks that count, like LinkedIn, especially in our space.
Well, okay, so on that one, how much did you spend on it? Because I'm guessing, like, did you just try to time it where you're like, I know they're gonna be searching between this day, and you just went big on like,
yeah, I only spent maybe like $20 maybe. It was just like, it was because it's, again, I was hyper targeted. Like, I mean, again, if you understand paid search, you know how to target really well, and you look for certain keywords, and then you kind of force them. There's certain things like I force them. Hey, if you search this or you search that, so you're giving them the keyword to search, and then you show up. So you got to do some, you got to understand the planning of the whole thing.
Yeah, that's funny. That's well, in that vein, I think a lot of people are like, cool, that makes sense, like theoretically, conceptually, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's so many introverts in our industry. Like, what recommendations would you have for someone that's like, maybe has the ambition to do those things, but haven't been able to, you know, like really do it because maybe they're...
No, I'll tell you this. I believe it or not, I've been an introvert myself. I mean, I'd still consider myself an introvert, but I'm also an extrovert. There's certain times you could be like, I need to have my alone time to charge and stuff like that. But at the same time, one of my biggest things I did for self-help was I did improv classes, and I also did Toastmasters. So that, I mean, if you guys haven't tried improv, just do it for fun. Or I did it for like maybe a quarter, maybe 3 months or something like that. There's a certain class you can take for like maybe about 3 months. But improv was one of the funnest things I've ever done in my life as an adult, and it actually broke me out of my shell. And then and on top of that, I was also taking Toastmasters because I if anyone that doesn't know what Toastmasters is, it's like a public speaking club. Usually you'll have one in your area or within a organization. I actually was the president of Toastmasters. I actually became president of Toastmasters inside Workday because they had a corporate club. So some corporations will have Toastmaster clubs. And that's when I first got introduced to it. and I was able to like start learning a lot more about the presentation, and what's also led me to this show, the live streaming. I would have done it if it wasn't without a Toastmasters. And one of the reasons why I also did Toastmasters was because I was at my previous employer that I left before Workday. I was denied a promotion because of the way I spoke. Like I wasn't clear enough. I had the ums, ahs, you knows, so's. I was all over the place. I wasn't organized. I wasn't sharp. And I was held against me. They said, hey, we're going to give this to this person because they can speak to leadership, speak to leadership. I'm like, what? I can't speak to leadership? But I mean, again, that may have been my ego at the time, but then I learned, right? So like, I learned like, you know what? I'm going to make myself better and do Toastmasters, which I owe a lot to the beginning of my public speaking career.
That's such good advice too, because there are like so many of us in the industry that are like really, really strong, like technical SEOs that may struggle with that like soft skill of being able to present and lead a room and have that. And it is something that it's like through practice, you can get there. And like, I'm also an introvert. I can play an extrovert and I can like do that, but it's like, yeah, I'm gonna want to like spend that time alone and recharge.
Yeah, exactly.
Have that space too.
Yeah.
But I do think it is like the more reps you get at it and the more exposure you get, the like you bring down those nerves, you become a little more comfortable in that setting. And that is something that you're not going to get unless you're stepping out and doing something like Toastmasters or whatever else.
Exactly. Especially, I know introverts can be really scary at conferences, which, even to this day, like if I would go to a conference without a purpose, it would kind of be hard for me to meet people. So what I always do, no matter whatever conference I do, I'll bring a camera. It gives me a purpose to just talk to people and just interview people. And so if anyone out there, if just, you don't have to pretend, just record your conversation. Hey, I'm recording something, I'm creating some content, and just go up to the person you want to talk to. And it'll be, for the most part, as in any conference, the person will want to talk to you, and they love, people love me on camera. And I found that as like my hack for conferences. Like any conference I go, whether it's like SEO, marketing, a fashion conference or whatever, I will bring just like my camera just to talk to people, and like it gives me a reason. Hey, can I interview real quick or just talk to you? But yeah, it's a great hack for conferences.
I love that tip right there with having a purpose and having that, because it gives you like something to lean on, something to stand on, that if you're not feeling comfortable, you have that familiarity in that kind of lane to go to. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, before we kind of get into the lightning round, any other kind of like tips, advice that you'd have for others that are going through it? Like hearing your story, you've gone through so much, like it feels like you just faced it head on and it wasn't easy, but just, I mean, lack of a better way to say it, the determination and just like force of it. I think like it's such a beautiful story to hear. Like what else would you want to leave listeners?
I want everyone to know this, like don't have an ego, because apply for every single job you can. Like don't just handpick anything. You won't, for the most part, you may not make the same amount you made before. So don't look at like any like salary bands or anything like that. And at the same time, the more interviews you can get, the more practice you get in front of talking to someone on camera, the interviews, and then it becomes like clockwork. It's one of those things where even for anything, like even if you don't want the job, just apply for it just to get that interview, just so you can talk to someone and just have that feeling and get that practice. I feel like that's the best way. And it's, again, interviews and stuff like that, the best thing is to be friends with these recruiters, because when they move companies and if you make an impression, they will actually reach back out to you for other opportunities. So when you do these interviews, it's working on two things. You're getting a lot of practice and you're building your network of recruiters. And so those are two things that you should really, really focus on when you get laid off. Don't have an ego, just apply for everything. That's the biggest advice I can say.
It's so good. And I think the networking as well, it's like, in addition to the recruiters, it's like, reach out to people in the past. And I mean, better yet, like try to make a practice of it. Like I'm not the best at this and I wish I was better, but I try like every now and then to just like reach back to people that either helped me out in the past, I respect it, I enjoyed talking to, and just reach out without asking.
Yep.
Like, don't ask for anything. Just, keep the relationship, because you never know when, you may need that help. And you don't only want to be reaching out when you need help, but also it keeps you top of mind. So then when you are in those areas, like, you have more people to pull from, more support, more contributions. But I think, it's like the network is such an important piece. It's beyond how strong your expertise is, where a lot of times it is who you know, who can introduce you, who can vouch for you and saying, like, if I get a candidate that has a direct referral or someone that I know and trust to say, yeah, that person's good, perfect. Like, that, it makes my job way easier as the recruiter. So I think, like, I can't stress that enough, that that's something you have to lean into. All right. You ready for the lightning round?
Sure.
We're going to hit you with 5 shorter form questions. And the first one, what's the biggest SEO skill becoming more valuable because of AI?
The biggest SEO skill because of AI is becoming a more T-shaped marketer, I feel. Like being able to understand social, understand like a PR, understand like a video creation, content creation, be a content writer. So it's search everywhere optimization now, I like to say, because like those are the things I used to really start learning. Like when it comes to AI, it's pulling things from everywhere. It's pulling like videos, pulling shorts, it's pulling things from Reddit. So these are like things you need to either be working with your social team or have a social plan as an SEO. So if you're client facing, if you're a consultant, all this is game now. Like you have to be a social marketer, you have to be a content creator, you will now be a content writer, and right now for SEOs, it's fairly easy now with the help of AI. So being able to understand all channels of marketing is what every SEO should be doing now in the age of AI.
I totally agree with that. It's almost like we have to be the architects, where you don't have to be the absolute experts in any one of these, but you have to know how each piece works. So then you can orchestrate the word, like how the things play off against it. Because if you're just doing the technical SEO side, it's not going to be enough. And I love the piece of search everywhere, because you really do have to have that like general understanding of how the pieces play, so then you can navigate within it.
Yep.
Next question. What is one thing SEO professionals should stop worrying about right now?
SEO professionals should stop worrying about traffic. Again, traffic. This is something that everyone will always talk about, and even in our conversation, Tyson, it's traffic. You need to have that report stack, this different metric stack that you talk about, where like having different things to report on. So like if certain things go down, like obviously like the whole AI just shut the SEO industry down with traffic because it's being taken away. So being able to have not to just really focus on traffic, but focus on the overall metrics, things that you described, whether it was just like indexation, crawlability, obviously impressions and then clicks, stuff like that. Just being able to have like a stack of metrics.
Fair. I think similar to you, I would say that for me, it's going to be like average ranking, visibility, like any of the subjective KPIs where it's like based on a crawler or a scraping of it versus like what you're already capturing. Because the more and more personalized the rankings get, the more and more subjectives those numbers are going to be. So it's like that area, it's like, use them for stakeholder management and competitive research, but that's not my core reporting group. And so I would totally drop the more subjective metrics and stick to the like harder facts.
Yep.
What is the SEO factor that you've been noticing hitting more than before?
The SEO factor, I feel it would be more on content freshness. This is something that I found when the age of whole AI coming out, I find that content freshness is even more important than ever. Like this is something that I'm actually refreshing more content for clients than creating new content. And I find things like when you refresh new content, not only is it awesome for AI, but it's also awesome for traditional SEO. Rankings start popping back up, and then when you're writing for AI, obviously there's certain things that when you refresh content and you refresh it for AI, you're adding things like whether it's like quick facts and more facts, stuff like that. So you optimize. You're hitting two birds with one stone when you actually refresh your content.
Love that one. And how, do you have any recommendations or guidance that you can give the listeners on how much they need to change in those refreshes?
Use your favorite content optimization tool. Obviously, things changes because it analyzes the SERPs. There's a bunch of them out there: Page Optimizer Pro, ClearScope. All these different types of optimization tools. Even I'm sure Ahrefs and SEMrush, they both have them too. But there's focused ones. But yeah, you run it through that, obviously, because obviously things are changing within the SERPs, and that's what it does. It measures the SERPs, so you refresh from that, and then you look into like AEO factors, right? I mean, I've started AEO.so, a knowledge base of certain over 200 factors and tactics that you can do that I've collected from every single person that has been testing. And I swear, if you just I've been so successful by just kind of using everything I've learned from my own sites and being able to either, again, add new fresh stats, being able to add, some of your frequently asked questions, being able to making sure your subheadings are declarative. I mean, these are certain things that are part of these things that you have to learn, then execute. So when I say refresh, be sure you learn how to refresh. You know what you're doing. I mean, it's not just changing the date or anything like that. That's not a refresh.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you're changing the structure of the page. Again, like I talked about, declarative headings. I mean, these are certain things that the AIs love. So you need to understand, learn the concept, and then start refreshing. But I mean, again, it's not just changing the year on the page or just a few words. I mean, doing the content optimization using those tools that does that will not help you out. It's half the battle. You still need to learn how to optimize for these LLMs.
And it's perfect. It's combining the theoretical with the tactical. So I feel like it's a perfect recommendation. Back to the career side.
Mm-hmm.
What's one mistake people make when trying to build a personal brand in SEO?
The one mistake people think, I feel, would be that having a huge following is what their personal brand is. I feel like, they're looking, again, that's vanity. That's all just stuff if you just produce content, just because you don't get that many views, if the content's out there, it's being found. If it was found by 23 people, it got found by 23 people. It doesn't, don't let it discourage you on building a personal brand. But I'd say creating content, especially video content, since so easy. You can record on your phone, you can record, video content, shorts, whether it's pick any platform. I mean, in our space, I feel like LinkedIn is probably one of the good spots to be a play on. But if you get more experience, you can syndicate. I syndicate my show on all channels. You can use tools like Restream, where you can go on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, YouTube. So yeah, being able to. Don't worry about the number of followers or views, but just create content and just refer to it. Again, your personal brand can also be just your personal brand between recruiters. You can send your recruiters hey, check out, this is my YouTube channel. I mean, they don't care if you have thousands of views or thousands of subscribers, but they'll look at the content. They'll see you oh, he looks confident on camera. He's a confident person. Hey, I mean, as long as you can provide just proof of you.
Yeah, give personality or character to it, and the content gives you the avenue or the platform to do that. And I've actually had conversations with buddies and contacts and people that may be in that tough point looking for something, and I'll tell them come on the podcast. Yeah. If anything, if I'm recruiting, I'm going to go to someone's LinkedIn. I'm going to see what they posted recently. I'm going to try to use that to get a feel for them, their personality maybe a little bit. And then I'm going to look at, obviously, their experience, all the other traditional areas. But if, as a recruiter, I can already hear someone speak and be yeah, no, that person sounds intelligent, composed, they're checking all these boxes, I'm definitely going to want to have that interview to dig deeper on the hard skills. But the first piece is just getting through those first barriers. And if you can get that personality out, at least to be visible in an authentic way, then you're already doing a huge chunk of the recruiter's job for them.
Exactly. And then also, I mean, and when you, here's a tip also for if you're going to go to recruiters and interviews, bring the energy. Like, do jumping jacks, go after a workout. Like, again, it's another way to stand out. Like, you have to bring the energy. Just, I know you may be scared. There's going to be nerves, but again, it goes away after practice. But all the time in your mindset, bring the energy. Like, yeah, bring it. Just bring it.
Which is such a good reminder too, because it is like, yeah, if I didn't push myself, I'm going to be more of the laid back and like, I'm not to do, you know, but it's like having just being like, yeah, fine, do some jumping jacks, run around the house, like do what you got to do, is also like spot on.
Yeah, no, you have to just get your body ready, and it's that's one thing too. Like health was a big thing. In order for you to get out of a little stint or whatever it is, health is something that you really need to work on. Exercise is a great way. I mean, I would walk the dogs more often than I was when I was laid off, and it helped me just kind of get out there more. I mean, that's one of the tips I feel like you should definitely take care of your health, because I mean, there was a time where I maybe a month where I said a few months where I started gaining weight, but that's what it slowed me down. But once I started taking my health first, everything just followed right after.
Yeah, and it's like it changes how you sleep. It changes just the mindset. Like I mean, just going through like my accident recently, where it's like a month of not being able to do anything. It's like it's tough to stay in a good headspace when you can't do a lot of things. And so like especially when you're down like me, if I push myself to get out and move and just do something active, like it's going to help my just mood, how I'm feeling, how I'm sleeping. Like it has a huge impact, more than I anticipate. Final question. If you had to rebuild your career from scratch tomorrow, what's the first thing that you would do?
It would be hard because, like, again, like I would, if I were to rebuild now with the knowledge that I know, I would apply all the knowledge I know, right? Because I mean, it's one of the things, like you learn to redo things or start over because of things you learned or you experienced, right? So if I were gonna like restart my career from now from what I experienced, it would be like being able to like just again use my own skill sets to promote myself. Like if I'm going to be an SEO, I'm going to apply that SEO, try to apply that skill. I'll test it on myself, right? If you're an SEO, hey, you know, they always say, once you go work with a family member who has a bake shop or whatever, and like use that as a practice on your own name, get yourself ranking, get like, you know, that's not only going to help you with your resume and not only like with what you can do, but it's like, hey, you're sharpening your own skill sets. I mean, at that time when I first got into SEO, I didn't think of that, but I mean, I knew how to do it, but I didn't think about doing it for my own self. I felt like maybe if I was able to build that personal brand or, you know, apply that stuff 15 years ago with all the SEO skill set that I had getting into SEO, you know, you don't have to be like a 15-year veteran. If you're just getting into SEO, again, and just apply it to yourself. I would apply it to myself, get myself ranking at that time. I know a lot of SEOs, one of the things is we were talking about like Googling our own names. And if you Google your own name and you're not on the first page, you shouldn't be an SEO. Like you need to, like again, that's, if I were to restart, it would be making sure my name's ranking number 1 for my name.
There's probably like some SEO listening to this whose name's like Will Smith, and they're just like, "Come on, like, what am I gonna do with that?
Add your second name. Add your second name. Add your second name. Whatever it is, William Tyson Smith. There you go. So like now that's not, it's long tail, but again, it's you're ranking for something, and then when you put it out there, like I mean, I do rank for Paul de Vera. I mean, but there are other Paul de Veras out there too. But you know, Paul Andre de Vera, that's more me, right? Because I mean, I'm adding my full name in there, and it'll be easier. But
got it. So do the Hunter S. Thompson instead of just Hunter Thompson.
Yeah. Yeah. Add your initial, add your middle name, whatever it is. Make it easy for yourself. You know, they say it like when you want to rank number one in Google, go for those long tail terms and make sure your name's long tail. Like,
Yeah, Tyson Stockton, the SEO.
yeah, exactly. You know, brand yourself. There's another way to do it. Just being able to brand yourself. Just either your full name, brand yourself. But yeah, that's what I would do if I were to restart today. And I'd probably maybe like own an SEO software company if I had that. If I did that back then.
Fair. Love that. Well, with that, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Voice of Search podcast. Thanks again to Dre from SEO Video Show, as well as AEO.so for joining us. If you'd like to contact Paul, be sure to check out his LinkedIn profile in the show notes, or go on over and check out his company's website. Check out the SEO Video Show. Like I said earlier, I was on with Dre not too long ago. So yeah, check it out. And if you haven't subscribed yet and want a daily stream of SEO content, hit that subscribe button in your podcast app or on YouTube, and we'll be back in your feed the following week. All right, that's all for the Voice of Search. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next episode.